Welcome, dear learners, to this video on ecological succession. In today's video, we will explore how ecosystems undergo gradual and natural changes over time. Moving from simple beginnings to complex, stable communities, succession is a fundamental ecological process that explains how life colonizes barren landscapes and how disturbed areas recover and regenerate. We will cover the different types of succession, the stages involved, key factors influencing the process, and its importance for ecosystem balance and restoration. Ecological succession is a natural and gradual process through which ecosystems change and evolve over time. It refers to the sequential replacement of one community of plants, animals, and microorganisms by another until a stable community develops. This process is fundamental for understanding ecosystem dynamics because it highlights how barren or disturbed areas transform into thriving habitats. Succession is not random. It follows an orderly sequence where species interact, modify their surroundings, and pave the way for other species. Studying succession allows us to appreciate the resilience of nature and its capacity to restore balance after disturbances. Here, there are two types of succession we will discuss in the video. And the first type of succession is primary, where the biotic community or lifeless community develop depending on the area. If the water, it's called hydrarch, and if it is from the dry area, it's called xerarch. Explaining the primary succession, it occurs in regions where no prior life exists, such as barren rocks, lava flows, glacial deposits, or sand dunes. Since no soil is initially present, pioneer species like lichens and mosses are the first to colonize. They play a crucial role in breaking down rocks and accumulating organic matter, which gradually creates soil and makes conditions suitable for more complex organisms. Over time, grasses, shrubs, and eventually trees establish themselves. This process demonstrates how life can emerge from seemingly lifeless environments and provide insights into how ecosystems originate and build complexity from scratch. On the other hand, secondary succession happens in areas where life previously existed but was disrupted or destroyed due to events like forest fire, floods, deforestation, or abandonment of farmland. Unlike primary succession, soil is already present, so recovery is fast. Pioneers like plants such as grasses and herbs quickly colonize, followed by shrubs and trees. This process reveals nature's ability to heal itself after disturbances. Secondary succession is particularly relevant to human-impacted ecosystem as it helps us to understand how degraded lands, agriculture fields, or urban spaces can be restored into functional ecosystems. Now talking about the stages of succession. Succession proceeds through distinct stages. It begins with nudation, where a barren area is formed due to disturbances like volcanic eruptions and landslides. Next is invasion. As seeds, spores, or larvae arrive in the new habitat, migration then begins. Species into the area follows by echoes, the successful establishment of organisms. With time, aggregation succession occurs as population increase. As the species interact, competition and coaction shape community structure. Through reaction, organisms modify the environment, improving soil or creating shade. Finally, stabilization leads to a complex community or relatively stable self-sustaining ecosystem that reflects the region's climate and environmental conditions. Depending upon from where the primary succession starts, if it starts from the water, it's called hydrous succession, also called hydrosphere, which occurs in aquatic environments such as ponds, lakes, and wetlands. It begins in a water body and gradually transforms into a terrestrial ecosystem. Pioneer species are usually phytoplanktons and submerged plants, which are followed by floating plants like nymphia. As organic matter accumulates, marshy vegetation includes reeds and sedges colonize, eventually giving way to shrubs and trees. Over time, the aquatic habitat is filled with sediments and become dry land that supports a climax community, often forest or grassland, depending on the regional climate. Hydrous succession illustrates how water ecosystems evolve into stable terrestrial ecosystems. On the other hand, xeroarch succession or xerosphere begins in extremely dry habitats such as barren rocks, deserts, or sand dunes, where conditions are harsh and soil is absent or minimal. The process starts with pioneer species like lichens and mosses, which gradually break down rocks and add organic matter. As thin soil forms, small herbs and grasses establish, followed by hardy shrubs that improve soil health or depth and moisture. Woodland species like trees appear next, providing shades and enriching fertility. Eventually, a stable community, often a forest adapted to regional climate, emerges. Xeroarch succession illustrates how barren landscapes evolve into complex, self-sustaining ecosystems. Various factors influence succession, which may be biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic factors include competition among the species, facilitation by early colonizers, and inhibiting that delays other species establishment. Abiotic factors such as climate, soil quality, topography, fire, flood, and wind greatly shape the pace and direction of succession. Another important element is time scale. Primary succession may take hundreds to thousands of years, while secondary succession can occur in just few decades. By studying these factors, ecologists can better predict how ecosystems recover after disturbances and plan effective restoration strategies to ensure long-term ecological balance and biodiversity conservation. Now we will discuss about the models of succession. There are three major models of ecological succession. The facilitation model suggests that early species modify the environment in the ways that make it more suitable for later species. An inhibition model states that pioneer species can prevent other species from establishing until they die out. The tolerance model explains that later species can establish regardless of early species but eventually outcompete them due to better adaptations. These models highlight the different pathways by which succession can unfold, emphasizing that ecological change is influenced by interactions among species, environmental conditions, and competition for available resources. Importance of ecological succession is essential because it explains how ecosystems develop, recover, and maintain resilience over time. It shows how life returns after natural disasters or human disturbances, restoring balance and productivity to landscapes. Succession is also crucial for biodiversity conservation as it creates diverse habitats that support varied species. Furthermore, understanding succession guides ecological restoration efforts such as rehabilitating degraded forests, wetlands, or grasslands. It provides a scientific basis for sustainable land management and climate adaptation strategies, ensuring that ecosystems can continue providing vital services like clean water, air, and soil fertility for human well-being. At last, we will recap some key terms that are central to understanding ecological succession. First is pioneer species. They are the first organisms to colonize a barren or disturbed area such as lichen, mosses, and grasses, which creates favorable conditions for others. Then second is several stages. They represent the intermediate phases of succession where communities gradually change into composition and structure. The final stage is the climax community, which reflects the regional climate, whether it be a rainforest, grassland, or tundra. These terms provide the vocabulary to describe ecological changes, help us to understand the step-by-step transformation from barren landscape to complex, balanced ecosystems. Thank you for watching.